Good morning. It is Saturday after the bank holiday at the beginning of May, and yesterday I tacked this panel in and it's working really nicely. It's quite cool this morning, so I've just had a very quick sweep up. Going to grind all these welds smooth and then do nice welding to get that in there. Then I'll plug weld those, grind it all smooth and start trimming up the B pillar ready to go back on top. I've just ground these welds smooth so that I can get nice welds in, and when I get to them I get good penetration rather than the weld just taking all the heat away. And then I've put rather fetching yellow gaffer tape on the big holes to stop crap dropping inside, which would be a bit silly considering I just spent ages hoovering the inside and then covering it in zinc paint. Seam welds along here, they're not particularly pretty but they don't need to be because it's all getting ground flat. Then plug welds along the back, so now I shall just clean all of that up. I don't know whether stuff like that is even worth recording. It's just me using a grinder, but I'll show it on fast forward anyway. Ta-da! It's not truly an invisible repair. Still need a tiny dressing of filler, but the levels are all correct, and that's so much better than it would have been had I used my original patch that I began to make, which was quite frankly awful, and that was done one-handed with a damaged elbow without the folder or a workbench. So had I really pulled my finger out, I could have done a better job and probably could have made that bit, but it would have taken me ages, and I probably wouldn't have put these nice steps in. So that's all done. It's ground off as much as I can be bothered to grind it. There's no point doing anymore. All of that bit gets hidden. The only bits, and you won't see any of this because there's a big stainless steel trim that goes over here, another one over here. The only bit you'll see is that bit. So yeah, it's just is what it is. I'm going to go find the wire brushy thing and clean that off a bit more. Ugh, excuse me, and then probably etch prime it. I couldn't resist. Here's another shot after I've just hit it with the wire brush on the high-speed drill. How minty mint does that look? So that's really cool, actually. I'm going to get a photo and put it on Facebook, make it look like I know what I'm doing. Just put some more Bonder rust primer on it. I was going to put the etch, but because that is all covered by the B pillar, figured it was better to do it in zinc rich Bonder primer. That can all go off, and then while I'm waiting for that to go off, I'll go and have a cup of tea, then I come back, and when that's hard I can chop up my B pillar and get ready to mount that in there. It is seriously hot. I don't know what's wrong with the world. It's well, I'm not used to hot weather really, being British. I've trimmed down the bottom of my donor B pillar. Again, apologies for the crap camera work, general poor lighting and all the rest of it. I'm still working in my garage in the dark because it's a lovely weekend and that I can hear the people are in their gardens and I don't want to piss them off. That's the B pillar section offered up to the car. I'm super happy that I used a section cut out of another car because you can see how crucial that step is, which I probably wouldn't have got quite as neat, if at all, had I made that panel myself. I'm going to use the same technique as I did when I put this in, and that is to make little shelves or tabs on the back side of the B pillar there, so that when I weld from this side I can get really nice penetration. I had to eyeball this because there was no easy way of getting reference measurements, so it's a bit baggy there and a bit tight in other places. So I'm going to pull it back out after I've marked where I need to cut a little more material off, and then I can go and put holes in for the plug welding. There will be probably 4 or 5 along here, excuse me, one there, and then in the back around that flangey thing, and just to make sure nothing is moved, it all still lines up. It can't move, as I've said many times before. These cars are super stiff, and that bit at the back was never unpicked, so it can't have changed in height either. Even with the door that I had to align that bit and swing it around and jumping up and down and bending things, none of that ever moved. So I shall put that back in, mark it up, sand it down, put the plug holes on, de-rust it. It has, that looks like rust, it's not, it's actually still cavity wax. Not cavity wax, like the protective wax that panels come in when they're new. So yeah, I'll do that now. Okay, one panel with speed holes in it. One went wrong over there because I messed up, so I just left it little 5mm hole, and I'll just have to weld it in. Then the ones at the very front and rear edge, I've not done with my punch. I've done them with a drill and just left them at 5mm, because if I leave them any bigger, the weld will probably want to burn out along that lower lip, which will be a pain. So I'm going to paint that with red oxide on the back side again. These flanges I'll do in zinc. In fact, if I paint it in zinc first, then I can red oxide in and around it, and then I'll clean that off, protect it with gaffer tape again in those holes, because I can peel that off from the inside. Repaint these bits while I can, zinc that bit, and then weld on my little tabs, ready to weld that bad boy on. That is now painted. I did put some weld through primer on the flanges first and then painted over it with that bit. I'm going to wait for that to go off, then I'll come back and I'll do the little tabs. It's been a while since I was last in here. I've been outside painting the inside of my Vivaro van, a lovely shade of blue. But we have, this whole area is prepared now. Got some little tabs welded on so that when I offer this piece up, which has been all pre-drilled and painted, it has something to sit against so I can get good welds into it, same as I did with the repair here, and it should all work out lovely. Right, so we have nicely welded, got plug welds along the bottom. I'm happy that they're really well on there. I don't need to chisel test them. Nice big slugs of weld up here and through there, so I can grind all of that smooth and have really nice metal beneath. So all in all, it's looking good. I just need to do the boring, noisy, smelly, irritating bit of grinding it all smooth again. So I won't record that because that's boring. I had plans to do loads today, but I'm flagging. I think it's just so hot and aggravating doing all this sort of welding and grinding when it is this hot. It's quite annoying. That is all done. We now have a structurally sound, visually rather nice. There's a couple of little imperfections that I could do, but I really can't be bothered at this stage. All that gets hidden by the rubber bead seal. It needs a tiny skim of filler, and I mean absolutely tiny. That bit in there, you probably wouldn't even know had been welded. So that's all good. I'm going to put a bit of etch primer on it if I can find some. Let's go and find some etch primer. That was really very satisfying indeed. Just etch primed it. You can see that really it would hardly need any filler. You could probably just paint that, put the trims back on, and you'd never know that had been done. Same with that bit. Needs a tiny skim of filler. That's good. As I was saying, it was my intention to carry on and do that bit down there, but I'm knackered, so that can wait for another day. See you later.